The accountability of the judges. There was a certain judge unto whom it was given to resolve and give judgment to a certain hearing. He was a bit hasty and careless, and he gave judgment according to hearsay without giving it much thought. He thought of the hearsay as being witness testimony and didn't inquire much about proof. He didn't think that he would be held accountable as he deemed his judgment righteous, even though justice did not prevail in this instance. There was another judge unto whom it was given to resolve and give judgment to a certain hearing. He tried to be attentive and heard the parties involved in the dispute. He empathized with one party more than the other as it reminded him of a personal story. He was well versed in the law, yet he thought of following his feelings in this dispute. He was hasty in his judgment, yet he thought he gave the correct resolution to the dispute. He didn't think he would be held accountable as he thought he gave the correct judgment. Onto another judge it was given to resolve and give judgment to a certain hearing. He looked attentive to both parties. He looked careful in examining the proof and the witnesses and then gave judgment. He was well versed in the law, yet the authority and power of his position had gotten the best of him. He had accepted a favor or money from a certain party to give judgment in favor of one of the parties. He didn't think he would be held accountable even though he denied some of the evidence to favor one party over the other. His knowledge of the law made him think that he was above the law. Therefore, he thought he could twist things in a way that helped him gain illegally as well. There was another judge unto whom it was given to resolve and give judgment to a certain hearing. He heard all parties concerned. He looked at the evidence and proof. He heard all the witnesses. He as well was well versed in the law. He first thought it was a simple case and had a feeling that judgment would be easy. Then he withdrew from that thought and inquired more into the evidence and dispute, and he was able to see the situation more clearly and from points of view that he didn't see before. He empathized more with one of the parties, as it reminded him from a situation in his life. He thought that he would lean more towards one side rather than the other if he took his personal life as the basis of his judgment, so he consciously withdrew from that thought as he realized that it might cloud his judgment. He was also offered favors with the promise of more from a certain party, so that he leaned towards one party more than the other. He refused the favors and withdrew from the company of those who offered him what they offered as bribery. He thought to himself that the hearing of a dispute is the opportunity to do the right thing to the best of his abilities. He also had taken seriously the warnings of accountability in a day of accountability. He then gave judgment with what he found best in the law. As it often does, the time came for the accountability of each judge, for the judgments they had given. Higher authorities examined each case. In some cases, the judgment was reversed due to the inconsistencies with the law. In some cases, the judgment was reversed, and even the judge was dishonored. In some cases, the judgment was confirmed and accepted since justice had prevailed in accordance with the law. Should one seeking justice be judged by one's opinions or hearsay? Should one seeking justice be judged by one who is hasty and inattentive? Should one seeking justice be judged by the feelings or the personal experiences of another? Should one seeking justice be judged by the corruptors or the corrupted? So by what judgment should one seeking justice be judged other than righteousness? And if it has been said that God is the best of judges, the most just and the most merciful, will not the judges be held accountable or be appraised for their judgments by the best of judges? In a world full of bad judgments, arbitrary judgments, and good judgments, is not prayer and repentance a good way for the believer? Is not patience and prayer a good way for the believer?